We are live. We are live, and I'm coming at you with five. Welcome to another episode of Gavin Richard Presents, guys. Give me 1 second. We're trying to get a few more people in here. It is a late night here in New Orleans. It is Sunday. Um, Give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to get more people in the room. Who's in the chat room? Who's watching? Why don't you say something in the chat box? Uh, by the way, just let me know if the fan is bothering you, if you guys can hear me. Um, I'm gonna try to keep this video short, this live stream. I don't think it'll be too long. So welcome to my channel again. Guys, just getting into it for those that are watching. The article is up and it's in the description. MTV is reportedly trying to remove Michael Jackson's name from the Video Vanguard Award. Now, for those of you that don't know, every year at the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, and I don't know, didn't even know MTV still made music videos because right now, or even played them because right now everything you see on there is reality TV or a special TV series that they do all year, catfishing or your mama, things like that nature, or Wild 'N Out, which is I think is on VH1 now, if I'm not mistaken. But VH1, by the way, is also under the Viacom family, along with BET, Nickelodeon, and I believe Comedy Central. So there's a whole monopoly there at those networks. So long story short, MTV is toying with the idea. This is from Complex. This is the article from July today, on Saturday, July 27, 2019. MTV is toying with the idea of removing Michael Jackson's name from their Video Vanguard Award for this year's Music Video Awards. During a conversation with Page 6, a source disclosed that there are talks within MTV about renaming the award. There's a lot of heated discussion at the network about how to handle the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award this year, and it's getting ugly, the source claims. There's talk about if they should change the name, about who would present it and who would accept it. It's a mess. Now, the Video Music Awards, obviously, they highlight all of the achievements in an artist's music video for that year. You know, who had the best, what artist had the best video, best choreography, best director, best production, best costumes, things of that nature, best song. Yeah, you get the idea. And of course, with the Vanguard Award, they were giving that out starting back in 1984 when MTV was just a fledgling music network. And if anyone remembers, Michael Jackson got the award in 1988. Now, it was just called the Vanguard Award, and of course, they gave those awards out to older artists like the Beatles, David Bowie, Richard Lester, who was the director of many of the music videos that the Beatles did. Now, keep in mind that when prior to Michael Jackson getting these awards, and let's even go back to when MTV started. MTV started in 1981. I wasn't even born then. My brother, I think, was just born at that time when MTV started, which was in 1981, my older brother. And MTV was a fledgling network. They did not have the numbers of people watching it. Their numbers, basically, they were trying to reach, a teenage audience in the middle of America, Midtown America. So that is one reason why, and of course, many people know the story. MTV was segregated. Blacks were not relegated to perform on MTV. They made an excuse up about, well, it wasn't about race. It was about you had to play the rock and roll, which was bullshit because, as you know, black people invented rock and roll. Uh, you can talk about Little Richard. You can talk about Chuck Berry. You can talk about Muddy Waters. The fact that the Rolling Stones actually got their name from a Muddy Waters album. The Beatles actually hanging out with the Temptations, learning their work. Also learning when they came to New Orleans. Very interesting story. I heard this that the minute they came to New Orleans to perform at the city park, the first thing on their mind when they arrived in New Orleans was, we got to go see Fats Domino. So African Americans, Black Americans have always played a role. All music comes from blacks, even country music. Now, MTV had a colored bar, and they even talked about this on the CNN documentary. You can look at it. I believe it's on Netflix as well, the 80s. And many of the black artists at that time, like Rick James, Miles Davis, they said they didn't want shit to do with MTV. So that same time, Michael Jackson comes out with this album. You may have heard, oh gosh, our connection is unstable. Well, I'm still talk, guys. Yeah, there we go. He came out with this album. Michael came out with this album called Thriller, which would eventually sell, it's estimated, over 100 to 200 million albums worldwide as of today. It became the highest grossing album of all time. It's the best-selling album. A record that still stands despite what they say about the Eagles. Worldwide, Michael Jackson's album Thriller is still the best-selling album of all time by music standards, including in the Guinness World Book of Records. Now, and that was at a time when you didn't have the internet. So think about that, the impact that he had, and the things, the time and effort you had to put in, that you can sell out, have people at record stores, long lines, something that they don't do anymore. You don't see record stores like we had Music Land here in New Orleans at the Plaza, right in the East where I grew up. And of course, downtown, there was even a Sam Goodies in the New Orleans Center. I miss stuff like that. When you can go to a mall, it doesn't exist anymore. But nevertheless, he has this album called Thriller, and he's trying to get his songs played on MTV. And of course, they have this color bar. And Michael Jackson had to deal with racism at that time because Michael was relegated as an R&B artist, even when he came out with Off the Wall, which I thought was probably his best album artistically. He only received one Grammy nomination, and that was for Best R&B, if I'm not mistaken, Best R&B Album or Best R&B Artist. I'm not sure. I don't have that in front of me, but that was the catalyst in him making Thriller. And Off the Wall sold over 20 million records. That was even huge for a black artist to do at that time. Getting back to this, Walter Yetnikoff, who was the president of CBS Records, which was under Michael's records, which Michael's record label, which was Sony, or it was just called Epic Records, excuse me, didn't become Sony just yet. He makes a decision that he is going to yank all of the CBS record labels artists including Barbra Streisand, including, I think, Springsteen, uh, countless other artists that he had under that label from MTV if they did not play Michael Jackson's Thriller. And so, I'm sorry, it was Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. Thriller didn't come until after Beat It and Billie Jean, well, Billie Jean and Beat It respectively, in 1983, December 1983. So, because of that, Walter, he threatens to pull those videos, and MTV finally relents. And when they relent, Michael Jackson's Billie Jean comes on, and of course, the rest is history. You know, there was a storyline in all of Michael's videos that you saw. And at the time, before Michael, you didn't see music videos that had a storyline that was done like a movie like Mike did. And once he did that with Billie Jean, and then he did Beat It respectively, and these were put in heavy rotation on MTV. The next video he did, of course, is Thriller, which is considered as the greatest music video of all time by all standards of music, as by all rock and roll magazines, including Rolling Stone. It's listed in, it's also in the Library of Congress as being culturally significant. Thriller has done that. Michael Jackson did that. And that was the reason why he got that award. And that award deserves to have his name on it, because without it, many of these artists would be doing the same bland old shit as far as just standing in front of a TV and playing an instrument. Once Michael did that, that opened the door for other black artists to now come into MTV. It's right after he did it, then Warner Brothers does it with Prince. And then Prince comes out with Little Red Corvette. Then you see Lionel Richie. And then after you see Lionel Richie, you also see hip hop starts to come in. Run DMC does the same thing. So you can say that there was a time before Thriller and after Thriller as to how the music video genre it was started and how it was done and complete. Now, fast forward to 2019, and you've had a documentary, or as I call it, a mockumentary that comes out about Michael. So 10 years after he has died, accusing him of pedophilia with two boys, two little sissies. I'm just saying, two liars. And I'm calling them a liar because they all have been caught in contradictions recently, as far as the location and timing. Even the fact that one of the boys failed to even admit that he dated Michael's niece at the time, that he failed to get the Circus de Olay job that for the Michael Jackson tribute show. And it wasn't until after that when he came up with this bullshit theory and that bullshit story, and that was not Jordan Chandler, that was Wade Robinson. Yeah. But that story too, Jordan Chandler, was BS. And James Safechuck is also the second individual in the Leaving Neverland mockumentary. So fast forward, they come out, Michael is dead, there's no evidence, no proof, they've testified on his behalf, or Wade did at least. Safechuck has given statements in the past defending Michael, and these men come out of the woodwork. And now as a result of it, or they haven't decided yet, excuse me, they're debating whether or not his name should be pulled. Now, let me go and finish reading this. For Leaving Neverland, two men, Wade Robinson and James Safechuck, claimed that Jackson had a sexual relationship with them while they were children. This documentary brought backlash to both Jackson and HBO. Some people have questioned Robinson and Safechuck's allegations, while others decided to boycott Jackson's music. This led Jackson to deny Jackson's estate, deny the accusations, and file a $100 million lawsuit against HBO and another lawsuit against the accusers. This cloud of confusion surrounding Jackson's legacy has resulted in MTV questioning if they should remove his name from the award. MTV potentially banning his name is the latest fallout, the source said. They haven't decided yet, but they have been going back and forth on it. There are a lot of issues. MTV doesn't give out the award annually. And although they announced this year's nominees, they haven't revealed any news on who would be the recipient of the Video Vanguard Award. So more than likely, uh, this award would be given out. And if you read further in the article, I'm looking at related Michael Jackson streams drop after leaving Neverland. That's not true. I actually saw that the streams increased according to one article, news source. The biggest takeaways from the second night of leaving Neverland reportedly incorrect on key detail. So when you see these tags here with Michael and HBO, if you look at the article, you'll find that. So long story short, guys, I believe the award is going to be given out, and I think Michael's name is going to be removed. But I wanted to talk about this. What Eddie Finn stated in his last interview about 4 years ago, when he was asked about Bill Cosby, he brought up the fact that there was a single systematic effort to destroy every black male entertainer's image. And when I look at what has happened in these past few years, especially with the start of the Me Too movement, when you look at the fact that an 80-year-old blind comedian plus is in jail on something that was settled and negotiated with a former prosecutor, that he was put in jail based on hearsay and speculation, that a judge violated so many rules and procedures that would have even gotten this case thrown out from the beginning if it was tried and under normal proceedings. When you allow witness outbursts to continue and go on, and then he gets convicted as a result of it, and you sentence him to 3 to 10 years. Plus, you look at right after the conviction of the man, the other black celebrities that happened, that occurred and resulted. Morgan Freeman being accused of sexual misconduct, Jamie Foxx being accused of sexual misconduct, of Todd Bridges, of all people, Todd Bridges from Different Strokes, being accused of sexual misconduct. Who else got it? Multiple, and then Michael Jackson in debt. R. Kelly comes along, and I know R. Kelly's a little different story, but nevertheless, still innocent until proven guilty gets thrown out. Here with Michael got acquitted in 2005. There was a trial. We sat and listened to the evidence. The jurors sat and listened to it, just like with OJ. They listened to the evidence. The police got caught lying. They got caught planting evidence. They got caught tampering with evidence. The prosecutors didn't prove their case. With Michael Jackson, even with one of the jurors who stated he thought Michael was a pedophile, he chose not to convict because he didn't believe the prosecution had proved their case. The other jurors have stated they didn't prove their case. They didn't believe the evidence that the prosecutors had. 10 felonies and 4 misdemeanors Michael Jackson was facing, and Tom Mesereau got him off on all of those. Think about that for a minute. Wade Robinson is called as a chief witness for the defense. Now, I know Tom Mesereau, who I know people will cite him for losing the Bill Cosby case, although honestly, I don't think it was Tom or his co-counsel Kathleen Bliss losing the case as much as it was the deck was stacked up against them from the beginning. But what happened, unfortunately for Michael, was that he didn't live in an age where there was social media. There was no Facebook and Instagram and Twitter in 2005. Had it been, probably the result would be different. Michael probably would have ended up in jail. because everybody's impacted by what someone puts on a fucking tweet. Once something goes viral, people run with it. You are so, what you are like a top. All they got to do is throw it and put you on a string and throw it, and you're gonna spin. You can be acquitted of something, and you still found guilty. You're still treated as guilty. Kim Michael has been dead for 10 years and can't even defend himself. And as far as it goes with, as far as it goes with MTV, I stopped watching MTV a long time ago. You should too. MTV doesn't even play music videos. VH1 don't even play music videos, and their motto used to be music first. That's what the one stands for in VH1. Now it's like first thousand. You know, if I was the Jackson family, I would tell MTV, take your award and shove it up your ass. It ain't even worth it ain't even worth wiping. All the stuff that that man did for that network. Think about this. When they wouldn't even allow blacks to be on there, Michael Jackson is the reason why MTV survived. Just like Bill Cosby is the reason NBC survived. Saturday Night Live is still around because Eddie Murphy was on there. Black men did that and get no credit. You know, I don't watch, I don't watch MTV. I'm serious. I don't watch MTV. And I don't know if people still, there may be people that still do, but I got to question you. I got to question you for that. What the hell are you thinking? It's nothing but trash. Maybe at one point they were good, but I woke up when I saw all of the stuff they were promoting. I honestly may watch it just to see if I can come up with something funny to look at. That's the only time I watch that bullshit. But everything on that stage, I remember when Nicki Minaj performed there, and she did that whole like satanic shit. I stopped. Y'all remember that a couple years ago? She did something mocking the Catholic Church. I ain't gonna lie, I watched Anaconda. I'll confess to that when she performed that. But that woke me up. And then I remember when Madonna the Vulture kissed Britney Spears. I mean, the shit that they promote, all they promoting is debauchery. And their programming stinks. Programming sucks. You know, y'all should be grateful what Michael Jackson did. You know, the fans, I know they're not going to stand for it. You try and take Michael's name off of that. You got Michael Jackson fans, white, black, straight, homosexual, uh, you know, Jewish, Catholic, Buddhist, whoever. Michael Jackson fans are universal, worldwide. They have no barrier. And that's evident by the fact that some of these fans are even suing HBO for airing that documentary and even suing the two individuals that made those accusations years after the fact. It's bullshit, man. And everybody needs to wake up. If you could, cancel your MTV subscription. Fuck them if they do this. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's just how I feel, man. I'm just so sick of seeing shit like this. You can be acquitted of something. Once you're acquitted, and plus on top of that, you're deceased, there's nothing we need to talk about. What else can happen to Michael that hasn't been done? You're just gonna take his name off, have no proof, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. That's it for me, guys. I gotta get some rest. Y'all have a good one. Peace.